At some point in everybody's lives, they reach a point where they realize the great impact of their freedom. When you were born unto this world, you were given a choice. Every step of the way, you can do good and you can do bad, and infinite steps in between. Yet what I need you to hear is that you have control over these choices. I may not know you, but I assume, given how I titled it, if you clicked on this video, you're in some way lost or stuck. And I hope that I can help with that. Today, we're going to be discussing the effect of shame and the implications of self-forgiveness in any addiction, whether it be behavioral or substance. You find that there is a shame associated with it. It really doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's something innocent, like eating a lot of a particular food, but not to the point that you become unhealthy. Anything like this. It matters what you feel because of that. Because those feelings are what ultimately end up controlling you when you develop an addiction that sticks around. Or even if you simply feel shame for existing or some part of yourself. There's a cycle that exists, particularly in addictions, wherein you feel shame. You use the addiction as a coping mechanism. The coping mechanism, which is the addiction, causes more shame. I think it's very important that we recognize this, because this ties into how I started the video. The fact that every day you wake up and you have a choice to do absolutely whatever you want. And yes, there may be consequences, but you have a freedom. There is a path that you could take that would give you the life that you would, from this perspective right now, consider perfect. And indeed, perhaps many of us will never get there. But to even be 50% there would be good enough for many of us, I feel. So to take control of an addiction that is controlling your life, sometimes it is simple. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot. You must identify your addiction and the mechanisms of it and stop it in its tracks. Because as soon as you have the thought, there exists a series of events. You think about it. You fantasize about it. You entertain the idea. And eventually, you consent to the temptation of your addiction. If you want to get out of this, you have to stop it before it starts. And so understand that this addiction is not you. You needn't feel shame for yourself, but the influence of this. And it is only human nature. In order to beat the addiction, it is nothing to do with willpower, because willpower doesn't really apply here. It is understanding. Because if you're watching this, you must know what is right. You must know what is good in your life. You must know that there is something that you need to change. Now, what if I told you that you are already strong enough to make the change that you need to make? It won't even be hard for you. once you make the change, you would never have to deal with it again. And in some aspects, I don't think I could tell you exactly what would need to happen. But there are things that exist as constants that can be helped with. There exists nuance in every generalization. It is not always shame. It is not always a deeper reason. But if it is shame, you need to recognize that, see that as the mechanism, and forgive yourself. And perhaps that is the most important part. If you can forgive yourself, then you will no longer feel shame, and there will no longer be anything to cope with. Yes, of course, you will have cold days where perhaps you feel uninspired, perhaps things don't go your way, perhaps you feel extremely exhausted. But in order to get through these days, it is not a matter of willpower, because the fact that you've realized the problem means that you already have that willpower. It is a matter of recognizing when it is the influence of the addiction. Recognizing when you feel shame. Recognizing what makes you want to practice your addiction. So if you can do all that, of course I can't promise anything. And indeed, perhaps there are aspects of this that I am still working on myself. But you need to understand that in order to progress, you must forgive yourself. You must love yourself fully, as God would, in order to be in a state that you would be entertained with the love you imagine. So go forth. You've already made the decision. You made the decision when you made the decision that the addiction was wrong and sought out ways to change it. All that needs to come now is a realization of what is wrong, of the mechanisms that cause it. So go forth. This is not something that I can help you with. It is of your own accord. But this isn't an issue, because you already know what needs to change. So go on and do it. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for watching.